that can fit through them bars. That's your problem. Life lesson number 1, check your cell before you go to bed. Because if you don't, you will wake up in a dark cell to find there's a new cellmate that you can't see. You can only feel it as it slowly slithers its way up your body and starts to make weird rattling noises too. Now this brings me to the last topic of the outdoors is right here. So y'all want you to swing on down and hang out for a moment. The jokes get worse too, trust me on that. Well y'all, welcome to the gallows. We are a real hanging jail. Fact is, we've hung 8 men from these gallows since opening day. But one man had a strange hanging. His name was Charles Powell, due to be hanged on February 28, 1908. Now it was on this very day of his hanging that every possible thing that could go wrong, it did. And it all started right there in that cell called death row. Mr. Charles was discovered passed out on the floor the day of his hanging. That's the problem. It is mighty difficult to hang a man if you can't get him up right to put the noose on his neck. But Sheriff Joe Perry ain't about to go outside to an entire town of folk and say, y'all please go home, my prisoner's sleeping. Instead, he told the deputies, get that body up there and wait for me, I'll be right back. So they did. Sheriff ran off to a field out yonder, found himself a big old giant board at a little construction site. He carried that board all the way over here to the top of the gallows, laid it down next to Charles, and they strapped him right onto it. Then they stood him into the air stiff as a board. But when they got him up right, they put that noose on his neck, yanked that lever good and hard to watch him fall, and then they realized they made a horrible mistake. They forgot to check the rope again. See if it could hold the extra weight of the board, and it couldn't. That rope snapped in two so fast that Charles hit the ground with so much force, his body broke free from the board, catapulted him back into the air, only to hit the ground again and roll out to the crowd, stopping right there at y'all's feet. He's not there right now, sir, but thank you for looking for him by staring at her feet. Sorry, ma'am, I didn't know he was going to do that, sir. Now, there was a doctor on the scene that did run over to check on Charles. Did look up at the sheriff and said one thing that the sheriff did not want to hear. Said Charles was still alive, breathing. Now, that put a bit of a pickle in the sheriff's day. Wasn't expecting to hear that. So he yelled out for a second rope. He'll just do the hanging again, and it'll be easier that way. Except I told you everything went wrong. Right there is the second rope. When he finished tying it, he looked out at the doctor and asked, are you ready? And the doctor looked up and said, nah, Sheriff, it took too long. Charles already died. Left the sheriff up there underneath the second noose in front of the town of folk. He not promised once but twice a good hanging. Had to tell him they ain't gonna see no hanging now, just a dead body on the ground. That's the best he had to offer him. Would you like to look at him again, make sure he's okay? Don't do it, I'm being sarcastic. Now, it is time for us to head inside this jail, but I do need help from all the gentlemen.